Well, thank you, Wolfgang, for being here. Tell us about UberCloud. What is it all about?
So UberCloud is a community and marketplace platform online for engineers and scientists to discover, try and buy computing on demand in the cloud. The idea behind it is there are 20 plus million engineers and scientists out there. Most of them still just use their workstation for daily work, but also for big processing. And very often, these workstations are far too slow or far too small. But many of these engineers and scientists, they cannot afford to buy a big compute server themselves. I mean, there are these acquisition costs, and you have to have specialists to run this, etc. So today we have the option simply to burst out of your workstation into additional, almost infinite cloud computing resources. And therefore you can do much finer, much better, much faster computer simulations than you can do or you could do before just on your workstation. And this is the marketplace then they go to, and they can experiment. So we have done so far 152 experiments with end users with real big applications in the cloud. We have published them in compendiums, and yeah, so they can really test first. So that's why we say discover, try, buy. Yeah.
So what kinds of work is being done in the life sciences through your system?
So we started to enter the CAE, computer-aided engineering market, 2 years ago. Last year, we started entering the life sciences market and offering this additional compute power to scientists, researchers, engineers in the life sciences, bioinformatics, biocomputing, molecular dynamics space. And so in the last 4 or 5 months, we have performed about 10 of these experiments. Several, for example, using GROMACS, which is a molecular dynamics simulation code, public domain, open source. And we usually build teams around this end user who is coming in, who is registering, who says, I want to do this experiment. Then we are selecting the best suited resource provider out of a base of over 50 cloud resource providers which participate in our experiments. And whenever needed, we add an expert, a computing expert, for example, to help the engineer or the scientist to get into the cloud. And then the team is ready and goes from A to Z to the cloud and back. And the team at the end is writing a case study, which we publish.
And then what's the profile of a user in that sector?
So the profile of a user, in technical computing, we have about 15 verticals, like bio, like CAE, like oil and gas, and so on and so on. They are very different. They speak very different languages, kind of. One speaks bio, one speaks engineering, and so on. And however, they have one thing in common. They all need badly additional compute power to do more things better, faster, cheaper. And the profile, therefore, is that someone who needs more computing, more than
Are they more
she
likely
has
to be in academia or industry? Or?
Both. Yeah. So that's why we address engineers from industry, and especially here, currently small and medium enterprises who cannot afford to buy a big supercomputer, for example. And we address scientists. Very often in these smaller departments, scientists also have a challenge, see a problem in getting more compute power than just what they have on the desk.
And then so you have HPC nodes around the world that you tie into, or?
54 so far. Yeah. So we have basically 54 resource cloud resource providers, and these are all providers who usually run a big supercomputer in their data center and sell part of that supercomputer on demand per hour, by the hour. Yeah. Some people say buy the drink, buy the coffee, sell it to engineers and scientists.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that you're here at D2D.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Very glad for you to our inaugural year. Could you just tell me about why you think a meeting like this matters?
So we are an online marketplace, right? We have contacts to hundreds and hundreds of providers, resource, software, expertise, and we have contacts to thousands of users, but we've never seen them. Yeah? And there is, a lot. What we do is automatic. Here, I mean, you can talk to them, and only this morning we got 5 new resource providers. I mean, I talked to Microsoft, which is just the next door booth, so to speak. I mean, just these opportunities you cannot really get when you sit at your desk. And I mean, internet is a nice thing, but it does not at all replace the human relationships.